Hello again. It's been a while since I've actually uploaded, and it's been a while since I've decided to come back to YouTube. And that's because I think I said in one of my old videos, or I put somewhere, I basically got a job. It was full-time. It was quite difficult to do editing, recording on top of this job that I had. So I was just like, you know what, I'll leave it. I'll try and schedule it in wherever I can do. And that's what I did try to do. But basically, I was meant to come back during COVID. I was going to record a few videos because, it's the perfect time to. We're in lockdown. I got made redundant. So I had a lot of free time on my hands, much like a lot of people did. I just really wanted to, get back to doing this because I really, really enjoy doing it. But something happened to me a few years ago now. It was 2020, ironically, the year it all happened. It was 2020 when this happened, and it just caused me to have such a mental decline on myself. I didn't think it would be fair on my own mental health to come back, because I'm all about comedy. I love being funny. I love making people laugh. But in the state of mind I was in, I don't think I could have achieved that without putting it on, and I didn't want to do that to myself. If I do this, I want it to be, authentic. I want it to be me, rather than putting on a face. I basically just wanted to put a video up announcing what happened to me and kind of talking about it, which could help people if they watch this video. I will put a trigger warning in now for people who don't want to know and don't want to watch. That's completely fine, just click off. It's a trigger warning based off of domestic abuse. It's based off of violence, general abuse, beating, gaslighting, shit like that. If you don't want to see that, I will include a few examples of pictures and a few examples of text messages. But I'm going to put this out here now. It's not for people who are, that are offended or triggered by that sort of thing. So just a warning now. But I just wanted to, talk about it because I feel like I was told by a lot of people that talking about it would help. Getting it off my chest would help. And also putting out this video would kind of put a clarity behind me, and it would also help anyone else who has the same problems and who is struggling with the same sort of stuff than what I've been through. It's just to raise awareness, really, and it's quite a touchy subject. But basically 2 years, coming up to 2 years now, I was attacked by my ex-boyfriend. It happened in my hometown where I'm from. I'm not in my hometown right now, I'm at university. I decided to come after everything happened. But in my hometown, I went on a night out and I woke up in hospital and I was told it was my ex-boyfriend that did it to me. It's quite a long story, but we met in college. I was dating someone at the time. I'm pretty sure that he was too. But we became quite close friends. There was always kind of an attraction towards him. It was one of those instances, I found him attractive. I'm pretty sure, he told me he found me attractive. And there was kind of back and forth flirting. And it was one of them. It was just we both got partners. It's not right. Let's just leave it as friends. And then he went off to university. I went into doing my job. The summer I was working, I had a party at my house. I invited a few friends around. We had a mutual friend who I invited too, and I said to him, let's invite this person, because I was now single at this point. I'd just split up with the guy that I was with during, I think it was 2019 I last uploaded. The guy on my previous video, I split up with him. I was newly single. I was like, oh yeah, let's invite him, see what happens. And he came to this party and we went out clubbing. We really hit it off, and he walked me back safe. And from there we started messaging, we started arranging dates. It was very slow burner. We started seeing each other for August. I think it was July, August we started speaking. It wasn't until November that we got together. So yeah, I went after meeting him up again and recuperating. I went on holiday, I came home, and we just started getting closer and closer, as a normal relationship does. Then in Halloween of 2019 is the first time I saw this kind of aggression. I saw this different kind of person coming out. We'd argue before, but it was nothing. It was petty arguments. It was 1 minute we'd argue, the next day we'd be fine. There was no real control or anything. It was just quite calm. So on Halloween, I have friends in the place that I'm currently at uni, and I also have friends back home. So at the time I wasn't at uni, I was still back home in where I normally stay. So what happened was we were invited out to this bar in the place where all my friends were, and then there was a few friends going out in my hometown who also asked us to go out. So I turned around to him and I said, well, you know what, we'll get ready, we'll start the night off like away from home, and we'll catch the last train home, we'll continue the night in the hometown. And for some reason, I don't know why, I don't think he didn't agree with it. We got ready, everything seemed fine, I got all dressed up, he was complimenting me, stuff like that, as it normally goes. Then when we were out in this bar, I basically turned around and said, right, we're going to have to head back soon, the last train leaves in about like an hour, so we'll have to think about packing up, you know. And all of our friends were about to go to this club. We'd moved from a bar to a nightclub, and if we'd have gone in the nightclub, we'd have missed the train. So I said to him, look, we'll just go straight from the bar, we'll go to the train station, we'll say our goodbyes, and we'll meet everyone up in town where we live. And he cornered me in the bar against the game machine, and he started screaming in my face. Obviously this was a big sign to me because I'd never seen this side before, and he was just screaming, shouting at me. He got banned from the bar. He had people dragging him off him. And then he abandoned me in this place that I didn't really know where I was. So the place where this bar was quite a big city, and he just walked straight to the train station. He knew the place, he'd been there before, so I was left stranded on my own. Everyone else had gone to this nightclub, he'd gone to this bar, so I rang up my friend in tears. I was like, look, I need to go to the train station, I don't have a clue where I'm going, can you come walk me? So he came and met me, he walked me to the train station, I got the train after he did, and we met when we were back home, and the night continued as normal. There were no real problems. It was just, it was the start of me seeing him whenever he got drunk. He got like this, and this progressed. Then we started dating in November. He had a lot of issues, and he couldn't hold a job down. He blamed his mental health, which, granted, if he genuinely had something wrong with him, that's fine. I was there to support him, I cared, I loved him, I would do anything for him. So we had this big plan. I'd always wanted to go to the Ivy in Manchester. It was like my dream place. I bought a beautiful dress for it. We all got dressed up in like tuxes and dresses, and we went to the Ivy. And I ended up paying for everything. I paid for the food, the hotel, I drove down, I had to pay for car parking. I paid for everything just for him to ask me out, to go on this dream date that I'd always wanted to go to. And we had a fine night, no issues there, but it was the concept that he made me pay for everything. And other than that, it was fine. So then back in my hometown, we went out again with one of our mutual friends who I'd known for years and years, and I don't know how he knew him, but he was a close friend of his as well. We ended up meeting. We went out to the club and we got a few drinks, we got drunk. And this is where I started seeing the control aspect. He didn't really like me speaking to other people. He said the same about the friends that I made at Halloween. We ended up speaking, we became very close. I kept getting invited to stuff, whereas he didn't, they didn't want to spend time with him after what they saw. So he'd accuse me of stealing his friends away, and this was a similar instance with the friend we went out with. The friend and me got on very well. It was, it was one of those, I knew him for a long time, but I hadn't spoke to him in years, so it was kind of one of those, oh my god, I've not seen you in years sort of thing. And we were just catching up, getting it off sort of thing. And then at the end of the night, me and him were walking home with my boyfriend at the time following behind us. And for some reason, he told me that he thought me and this other friend was conspiring against him. He thought that we were talking about him. He thought that we were laughing at him, taking the piss out of him, which wasn't the case at all. We were just catching up, getting on with each other. So when he left, he lived a little bit down my street, so he went off one way, we went up my street. And then as I was walking back with him, he started yelling at me, he started getting aggressive, he started saying, why are you doing this, why are you doing that? And he ended up pushing me down and kicking me at the street. And I ended up with bruises all down my thighs, but they were well hidden. I could just put clothes over them. I was too scared to tell anyone. And he told me what the reason was. I went home, I forgave him, he went home, and then that was that. It just seemed like a downward spiral from Halloween. And then after that, he ended up getting arrested for something. He got in a fight in a club. I was at my friend's, he ended up getting in a fight with someone, and he hurt them very badly. And then he stormed off and ended up coming to my house. My parents were away at the time. My parents were on holiday for about a month or so, maybe 2. I think they were on a cruise. They were in Australia. So my boyfriend at the time ends up coming to my house. He lets himself in. He knows the code. He goes in my room, and he was waiting for me when I come home. And I come in. I'm like, what's happened? He's got like cuts and bruises. So I clean him up. I bandage him up, and I because of my training, I'm medical trained. So I helped him with his bleeds and everything. And we just talked about what happened. And again, a little trigger warning right now. He went into the bathroom and he slit his wrists. He went into the bathroom, he did what he did. He said it was on his mental health. The next morning I wake up and there's police officers trying to get in the house. So obviously he goes with them, he gets sorted, and then when he comes back from giving statements and stuff, he seems to victimize himself. He seems to make it out like it was my fault. That what happened, and it wasn't. That wasn't the case at all. I tried to help him as much as I could. I was there for him, I supported him, and he turned against me. He made it out like I was the bad person when I wasn't involved with this fight whatsoever. So because of what I'd seen and what happened with the fight with another person, I backed off. I didn't want much to do with it, so I just backed off slowly. And then I said to him, look, you scared me a lot. Like, I can't do this right now if you're gonna be the way you are. If you're struggling mentally, please, like, go get the help that you need. I will be there to support you, but only as a friend. I can't keep doing this if you're gonna be aggressive with me, and if you're gonna take it out on me when it's not my fault. And he took it fine. We split up at the end of December, and then we moved on. I started my job up again in February. My parents are still on holiday at this point. And they were coming back just after my graduation. So I'd say about March time they were coming back. So I went away to my training. It was at Manchester Airport. I did my training. I was at a hotel. Bear in mind it was just coming to terms with COVID as well. So it was very lonely. It was very lonely for me. I struggled a lot on my own in that hotel room. I didn't have any friends to talk to at the time because they were all going back to uni, they were all studying. My parents were in Australia, so they had a completely different time zone to me. The only person I could really talk to at that point was my ex. So I messaged him from time to time. We FaceTimed occasionally. He told me that he was doing better. He was seeking help. He was getting the right medical treatment, which I was proud of. I was happy for him. And he seemed a different person. He seemed so much happier. And I already invited him to my graduation because my parents couldn't be there. I invited him to my graduation. I invited my friend from that night out in Halloween. I invited both of those two. And even when I told my friend, he said to me, why have you invited him? Like, why have you invited your ex after the way you just split up with him, just keep him out of your life? And I didn't listen. I was like, he's getting better. It's okay, don't worry. And my graduation went fine, to be honest. It was great. But just before my graduation was Valentine's Day. So my graduation was around, I think it was like the end of February. Valentine's Day was the middle. So I did my Valentine's Day with him. I decided to surprise him, and I thought, he's getting better. Maybe things could work out again. So I surprised him. I went in my uniform. I knocked on his door. He opened the door, and we spent the day together. We went out. Again, we had a few drinks, and then we came back. But I said to him I didn't want to go in this bar that he likes because I wasn't in the mood. I was tired. I'd been training all day. I just wanted to have a bit of downtime. We went for a few drinks, granted, at a bar, but the bar that he wanted to go to, it stayed out late. I didn't want to be in that environment. I was like, I'm tired. I want to go to bed. And because I didn't go to the place he went to, he decided to hit me again. He threw my luggage at me whilst I was on the bed, which was quite heavy, bear in mind. And then as I moved out of the way, he grabbed my hair and he slammed my head into the wall. And at that point I was like, what the fuck, I've come back. I made Valentine's good for us. I wanted to be there for you. And it just seemed like I was having it all thrown back in my face again, literally. So I was like, but I still invited him to Wings. Wings went great. And then after that, it was my birthday. Yeah, my birthday was just after my graduation. My parents didn't like him. And again, they weren't here. So they said to me, you can have friends round, but not him. We have cameras at our house because of the kind of accommodation we live in, and my parents have access to the CCTV, so they can see who comes and goes. So when they if they saw him come in, it'd be game over. So I just invited normal friends. We went out clubbing. We didn't have anything to do with him. It was a great time. It was my 20th birthday, and then a few days after that, I wanted to go shopping. I had birthday money. I wanted to kind of treat myself, and I thought, we were talking a little bit, and he said to me, do you want to go out? Do you want to, have a few drinks? And I said, screw it, why not? We're doing this as friends. We met up with a group of friends. We went into a bar that he wasn't banned from because of the fight. He got banned from the main nightclubs in the town. So we went to this other bar, and I left my drink on the counter. And I said to him, can you just watch that? I'm going to the toilet. And then this is where it all went downhill. I came back. I continued the night. But from the point I went to the toilet, I do not remember the rest of the night. So I don't know if he put something in my drink or whether it was the head trauma, which I got told by the nurses it could be. But I still to this day don't know what happened. And I don't think I will ever know what happened. But from going to the toilet, from the first hour that we were in this club, to waking up the next morning is all black. I do not remember anything. It's just completely gone for me. But I woke up in hospital at about 6 o'clock. I rang up some of my close friends whilst I was still in hospital. I knew they were still awake because I saw them in town. I was like, they're going to still be awake. So I rang them. They came straight away. I rang my parents because it was afternoon, evening time in Australia. I rang up my workplace and I told them I've just finished my training, I've just finished my graduation, but I'm not going to be able to come into work because I woke up disfigured. I woke up with 2 bleeds on the brain, severe trauma and bruising, cuts, everything. I will now include some pictures. So if you do not want to see that, skip to the time that I'm going to put in right here. Skip to that time because I will be showing pictures of the day I woke up and a few days afterwards. But these are the pictures. I had 2 swollen eyes. I had a footprint on my head, which you can see. There's a line and then a kind of a circle imprint. This is what I looked like when I woke up in hospital. And it didn't hurt. I wasn't in pain. But basically, after seeing myself, after coming to grips with it, after having my friends around, I was told by nurses that he'd been stamping on my head and that if he'd have hit me anymore, I would have either been disabled or I would have been dead. So it was that severe. The bleeds on the brain were that severe, they could have killed me. So when I was in hospital, I had CPS coming in, I had IDVA coming in, I had CSI coming in to take the pictures. IDVA was very helpful. They were talking to me about domestic abuse and they gave me a few numbers, like a domestic abuse helpline. They were really supportive of me and I really appreciate that. CPS were amazing during my time in court. They helped me so much, and like recommended me places to go to get help. So I got told, after speaking to all the correct people and having pictures taken, I was told that I had XYZ wrong with me. Apparently I woke up and I gave half a statement in an ambulance, which I don't remember doing. When I was in the ambulance, I was slurring, I was tired. He didn't run away, he stayed at the scene and he was arrested on the spot. I was told I had cuts, bruises, I had internal bleeding, my wrists were swollen from defending myself. But apparently I was told that I was knocked out after a few kicks and my body went limp. And because my body went limp is the reason nothing severe happened to me, like broken bones, anything like that, fractures. Because I went limp, I kind of just went floppy when he was kicking me. And if I'd have stiffened up, I would have broken bones. Basically, if I'd have been conscious, I would have broken bones. But thankfully, I mean, I've fully recovered. There's nothing really wrong with me, like facial structure-wise. No broken bones. My black eyes have gone. I look basically how I did before the attack, which I am so grateful for and so thankful for, that I could make a full recovery. So obviously with that, a lot of people were in my messages asking if I'm okay, asking to see me, asking to, be supportive. And again, all my friends that were there for me, and my current boyfriend right now, he's so supportive, and everyone who I've confided in is so supportive and helped me come from this shell of a person that I was left as to being who I am now. And I'm basically back to the way I used to be. There's certain things that scare me, like drugs scare me, loud people scare me, any signs of conflict or violence scare me. I'm not the same, but I am, if that makes sense. But because I'd say a few weeks after everything that happened, after I came out of hospital and I was on my way to recovery, COVID struck. The first official lockdown struck. I got made redundant from my job almost instantly. They couldn't keep on everyone, and obviously this was before even the furlough scheme came to terms. So we were just put on redundancy. We were told, you can come back in about 2 or 3 years. I thought, you know what, fair enough, I understand. But, I mean, we're going into lockdown, there's nothing much I can do. I can't get a job, really. Everyone was applying at shops and everything. There wasn't much going where I was from anyways, because it was quite small. So, yeah, I basically spent my time in isolation. I was FaceTiming friends nearly every day. During the summer, I went to the park. We were socially distanced and it was good to have the social interaction, but my mental state was so bad at this point. I was constantly crying, I was having nightmares, I was depressed, I had anxiety, I had really bad PTSD. I kept seeing stuff, which wasn't the best, but I made it through and I spoke to my parents about it. I was very open and honest and I said, look, I'm struggling with this. They took me straight to counselling. I was referred through my GP to get help and they offered me CBT. But they said, get counselling first. If that doesn't work, get CBT. That was fair enough. So I decided in the years I was going to be redundant, I was going to come to university, which is where I am right now. So I came here. I got counselling last year. It didn't help much. I can't lie. It didn't really do anything for me. So then I went and did CBT. And honestly, for someone with PTSD, it's one of the best things that you can have. It helps so much, and it helped me to come to terms with things. I don't cry anymore. I don't have nightmares anymore. I sometimes get scared and I sometimes get anxious, but you can't help that. Everybody gets scared and anxious a little bit. So at the end of the day, I'm so grateful for every bit of help that I've had. And then just earlier this year, on the 16th of June, I had court. It took over a year to finally get him sentenced because of the trial, because of COVID, because of everything. It just took so long to get out the way. And when it finally did, it just kind of felt like a relief. It was a weight off my chest. So when he was sentenced, it was Section 18 grievous bodily harm, and he got given a sentence. I won't state the sentence. I won't state the sentence, but it wasn't enough for me to feel safe, because I'm still going to be in my hometown by the time it's over with, and I'm terrified for when he comes out. I think about it quite often, like, it's going to happen, I know it's going to happen, but I just need to surround myself with the right people. I need to be safe. I'm in a safe place where I am now. I'm in halls, there's security, there's fences, I'm in a safe environment, and I am happy right now. And I'm just hoping that throughout my time at university, it continues to be happy. I've made such an amazing group of friends whilst being at university. As I stated before, I've found a new guy. I'm getting on with him really well. We started dating in July of this year, just after my court case. And it felt like a fresh start. It felt new. And coming to uni, I'm just so open, and I'm willing to just, move past things and do it for my own well-being rather than for the sake of making others happy. I need to do it for myself. But it's had such a detrimental effect on my anxiety and depression. It's had such a detrimental effect on the way I view people now, because when it first happened, I was scared to be around people who drank and did drugs in case someone turned violent. Not everyone's the same. Not everyone will turn violent, but he's had that effect that makes me think that, if someone starts speaking up, if someone starts getting loud, it's going to escalate to an argument, and I kind of curl up. I'll start crying. I'll like beg for no conflict to be had, and that's the effect it's had on me. It was also a lot of gaslighting and a lot of, it was never his fault, which had an effect on me as well. Like, now I'm too afraid to speak my mind because I'm always scared it's me making someone else out to be the bad person. Like, for an example, I'd get upset about something. I'd say I feel uncomfortable with the way he's done something or said something, and it'll get reversed onto me. So now I'm terrified to even speak my opinion. Again, another trigger warning, I will include perhaps a few text messages showing, like, the proof, like, he's hit me before. There's proof of gaslighting in there. But it's one of those things. Once it's happened, and even getting to the end of this video, I just feel like a weight has gone off my chest, and it just feels like lighter. It feels lighter to talk, it feels lighter to think, it just feels so much happier now that it's all done, it's all gone, and I'm just so happy with where I am right now, and that is all I can ask to be. So I've got a few things in mind for this channel. I've gotten my sense of humour back, and I've gotten my happiness back that is genuine, and I know it is. And I'd much rather start uploading with an explanation and with a video that might help people. So it's a help to people, and it's also a warning sign to people. If you ever feel like you're alone, you're not. You're not. I always thought I had to hide everything. I always thought that I couldn't tell my parents, my friends, because I was scared that I'd have to break up with him, because I was so in love. I didn't want to break up with him. And I kept going back because I thought that it would change. I thought he would change. And they don't. Even when you think they change, they won't change. And that's the worst part, because he kept saying he's getting better, he's getting help, and then once I give him another chance, he'd knock me back down. It had to result in me being in hospital for me to realise, this isn't right, and that sucks, because why should it get to that point? Why would you, commit violence to someone that you love and someone you care for so deeply? But that being said, I've stated before, not everyone's the same. Not everyone will do this to you, but the minute you start feeling you're being controlled, the minute you start having having your partner tell you that you can't go out with your friends, you can't look a certain way, you can't act a certain way, they're warning signs. And the minute the arguments start, where, I mean, everyone has arguments, but the minutes the arguments start where you know something's not quite right, like being pinned, like being knocked over, like being shoved, anything, just get out. They are the warning signs, and they are the red flags you need to look out for. And I know people have been through the same stuff. I'm not saying it's anything special. A lot of people have been there. A lot of people have had the same, if not worse, instances than me. But the main thing is to talk and get help. And that is basically what I'm doing with this video. This is my way of talking and reaching out. And if anyone is in the same boat, it's here to help. But this has been my story. I know it's long. From start to finish, this has been me talking about what has happened these past few years and what I've been going through. But it's over now. And I'm so much better, and I can't wait to start getting back in doing something that I've really loved doing and that I enjoy doing. This is kind of like my escape. It's whenever I recorded, whenever I edited, I felt happy, I felt good doing this, and it's such a good mind relief, and I'm so excited to get back into it, and I cannot wait. But thank you for listening to this, because this has helped, and I'm hoping that this might help other people. Even if it helps one, it's one more than, than not spreading it. But thank you so much for watching this. I really, really hope that you have either related to it and understood, or you've enjoyed listening to it. If it helped you in any way, I am so thankful. Just keep an eye out on things on this channel, because I will be returning quite soon and I've got some good ideas. So thank you, and I'll see you shortly, hopefully.